Hey YouTube, it is Friday evening. I'm smoking my trusty little Peterson. My brother Tennessee Bull gave me. I got some McBaron Golden Extra in there. I made that about 10 minutes the other day. You can tell the quality workmanship that went into it. It works. That's all I care about. But I've had a busy day today. I'm not going to bore you with it, but 3 doctor visits, 2 dentist appointments, 3 new medications, a used car dealership, and I survived. It is time for Top 5 Friday. Are you ready for this? This is what lost the coin toss last week, so I didn't have to come up with a new topic. I'm just going with what I already had. These are, I know this one's going to stir the pot because there's such a depth of talent to choose from in this particular field. Every one of us could come up with a different top 5 and probably leave out about 100 great choices. These are my top 5 stand-up comedians. With one honorable mention. Probably a couple, because you know how I ramble. Whoa, let's turn the whole thing over. Alright. Number whatever. One of the funniest guys. I actually saw him live before he died. Ain't but one of these guys left alive. But I saw this guy live before he passed away. And it was one of the funniest nights of stand-up I've ever seen in my life. A guy named Mitch Hedberg. If you've never seen Mitch Hedberg, he's probably an acquired taste. He's a little, I don't know, kind of off kilter, off balance, different style of stand-up than anybody I've ever seen. But he was funny. Dude was funny. I enjoyed him. When he passed away, it was like, oh man, kidding me? Pretty much with all these guys it was like that, but Mitch Hedberg was kind of a one-liner kind of guy, and it was stuff that, not like Stephen Wright, you know, similar to that, but just kind of out there, off kilter. Look him up on YouTube. There's a lot of him out there. Number 4. This guy was a little raunchy. Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks. He was like one of the most rock and roll comedians ever. He kind of fit in with that crowd. I mean, just to give you an idea, Tool, the band Tool, sampled some of his stuff on one of their albums. Guy made a joke about the Kennedy assassination. which is hard to do. I mean, come on. And kind of tell you how raunchy and out there he was. His observation about the Kennedy assassination was seeing Jackie Onassis's ass. Number 3. And I could put these in probably any order from this point forward. I debated about putting this guy on the list, but you just can't leave him off because in his heyday, he was the funniest human being on the planet. That's Eddie Murphy. When he was in his 20s, the man was just non-stop. He just had everything he said was just pure gold. I remember sitting and watching his HBO specials and stuff like that with buddies and just dying laughing. We would watch him over and over again. We would practically recite them along with him. He was a funny man. Not really sure what happened to him. He's still around. He just doesn't do anything anymore. And he made some great movies, and then all of a sudden he just started making junk. But I'd love to see him get back into stand-up. Number 2. I don't know which order I want to put these in. George Carlin. My dad loved George Carlin. I saw and heard a lot of him in the 70s. Some of it I didn't understand when I was 10 years old, but when I grew to appreciate it, he was a pretty funny dude. I normally don't enjoy it when comedians and celebrities and stuff get political. But Carlin had a way of doing it without... I don't even know how to explain it. Everything he said was true, whether it was true or not. He knew how to put a spin on things that made you go, oh, yeah, no kidding. This one I consider probably the pinnacle of stand-up comedy. And that's Richard Pryor. There was only one Richard Pryor. There would be no Eddie Murphy if it hadn't been for Richard Pryor. It would be a lot of people if it weren't for Richard Pryor. He knocked down some serious doors. And he would credit most of his door knocking forefathers as being probably Red Fox and Dick Gregory. I listened to a lot of Red Fox in the 70s too. My dad had a few albums. He was the originator of filth. Wash your ass. But Richard Pryor, just everything about him, the stuff he talked about, the way he talked about it, the imitations, the people that he became when he was doing his comedy, the seriousness of it, everything about him was just killer. I miss him. I'm going to do a honorable mention to a guy that used to crack me up. He never really, he had a pretty good run, and then he never really progressed beyond his shtick. but his shtick was funny as hell. That was a fellow named James Gregory. He's just a good old boy, good old Southern comedian that just talked about the stuff, and you knew what he was talking about because you had that relative, or you had a brother like that, or you had met the person that he was talking about. Very real, earthy humor. He's a funny guy. Those are my top 5-ish. Let me know what you think. I'm sure a couple of those will probably be on most everybody's list. But I'm not much into new comedy. I see people every now and then that I like, but not enough to go out and buy a video or a tape or something like I did when I was a kid. I had a bunch of comedy records. I had Robin Williams, Steve Martin. I had everything he ever put out on album. Red Fox, like I said. Justin Wilson, Cajun comedian cook. Jerry Clower. He's another classic. Anyway, tell me who makes you laugh and why. I'd love to hear about them. I'll go watch them on YouTube and share a laugh with you. Until next time, have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves. And be cool, man. Be cool.